Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where in the world you might be. Very disappointing, there's no doubt. It's the Arsenal v Burnley post-game show and player ratings right here live on the Highbury Squad. Here we go. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. It is indeed the Highbury Squad. Happy Sunday to all of you, no matter where in the world you might be. Very disappointing, and here to help me dissect it all once again is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kev, Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies at ease. Come on, let's just do this. Let's do it.
All right, Kev.
We're frustrated. We're frustrated. That's for sure.
Very frustrated. I'll get your comments up as we go, you guys. Welcome to all the usual suspects in the house. I'll give you some stats from the game, everyone. We had 20 shots. They had 10. We had 5 on target. They had 1. 76 possession for the Arsenal, 24% for Burnley, 643 passes for us, 210 for them. 87% pass accuracy, 64 for them, 9 fouls for us, 13 for them, 0 yellow cards, 2 for them, 0 red cards, and we'll get to that. 2 offsides. They had 4 corners. We had 12 corners. Mm-hmm. And another stat that I just discovered, we had 31 crosses. And not really anyone on the end of them. Kev, do you want to just start with the players and then we can... Yeah, it's going to be... we're going to try and get everyone before the...
Yeah, we'll try and talk as we go anyway.
Yeah.
So, look, squaddies, let's Rambo first. Let's look at Rambo first. Had a little wobble with one cross, didn't he? Came out to punch and he got it wrong. But didn't really have too much to do, Soph. Didn't have too much to do. Look, I'm going to give Rambo a 6 today because he, didn't have to do anything, made a couple of saves, but you expect him to make them. So I'll give him a 6, Soph.
He's not been great the last 3 games. He definitely stood taller, wider, in the second half, Kev. There were a couple of weird incidents in the first half? There was a really dodgy moment where, for the corner, he completely whiffed on the corner, but he did make 2 or 3 decent saves that helped us in the end, where we got caught by Burnley on the counter. So I'll give him a 6 as well. I'm going to go with you and Ashton. Not being as dynamic though, but also that shows you when there's disruption at the back, it affects players like Ramsdale. It affects other players when that starting lineup isn't there and that midfield. I tell you. Anyway, keep going, Kev. I think it all leads to a lack of confidence at the back.
Well, could you just put that last one up? Enough of this rubbish. Could you just put the last one up? Because I didn't... All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. They're out now. I wonder. Do you remember 3 games ago? There was none of this talk. So I'm not even bothered of what your opinions are. Your opinion's yours. My opinion's mine. We're in a difficult situation now, and we all know why. We all know why we're in a difficult situation. And you know what? We have had bad results. The Invincibles had bad results. Never forget that. The Invincibles had bad results. So let's look at Ben White. Right back today, for obvious reasons. Tomiyasu, we took a risk on him. We did take a risk on him in the week. Didn't pay off. And, he couldn't play today. Ben White obviously moved out to the right-hand side. And again, we were so dominant on the ball. We were so dominant. It's difficult to give these guys really high marks. Not to say that we were brilliant, because we weren't brilliant. But it boils down to putting the ball away. That's what it all boils down to, and we couldn't do that. So again, Sophie, I think it's the marking's going to be a bit more like the other night, where it's going to be, 5 6s and maybe a 7. That's going to be it. So again, Ben White, I'll give him a 6, Soph.
So I put this up from Sam. Kevin, can you tell me why there was no tactical change, no plan B again? I just want to see. Us try something different if it's not working, like Palace did versus Liverpool today.
You've got to look at personnel. So if you're going to ask me the question, you've got to look at personnel. And a plan B did come on because Eddie Nketiah came on. And they kept Lacazette on. So that was the plan B. That is our plan. That is our plan B at the moment.
Kev, what about, why isn't Nuno kind of being brought in to maybe add some zip or energy when we need a goal? He's so versatile.
Where are you going to play him?
Well, he could have played it. He could have played it right back, to be honest, for a little bit of the game, or he could have come into midfield and added a little bit of spark.
No, we're in midfield.
Substitute this Sambi, is the thing. Or...
No, Soph, no. Sambi's the only centre midfielder we got. Nuno's a fullback.
But he helped and was, when he came on in that Liverpool game when we were down to 10 men, right?
Because he was left. He wasn't centre. He was left.
But what I'm saying, what they're asking is that even though we lack quality throughout the squad, I mean, our right back choice today to come on was Alibiosu, who's a 20-year-old Haylender.
Sophie,
had his first call up against Liverpool in the
Sophie,
in the Carabao Cup.
let me tell you, I got asked a question about a plan B, and I mentioned what the plan B was. People don't like it. There's nothing I can do about it, Sophie.
Some people are just saying that he's swapped players versus tactically.
But it wasn't. We had two strikers on the pitch. Eddie Nketiah is a striker. So in the end, we end up with 2 strikers on the pitch.
Can I?
They don't like it, Sophie. It's not my problem.
I get that, but can I add that Emile Smith-Rowe, in my opinion, was the one that looked like he could do some damage in the second half, and he got taken off. And I'm thinking that's a saving him thing, but we don't play again until February 10th, Kev. No, I found that substitution a little strange, considering in the second half, I thought Emile Smith-Rowe actually started putting the team on his back for the first 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, but that's the first 20, 25 minutes, and people are asking about a plan B. Then when you start doing a plan B, someone has to come off.
I totally get that.
So I don't know what else you want me to say, Sophie. We can argue about who should have come off and who shouldn't have come off. Of course we can. But when people start talking about a plan B and then a change is made to bring 2 strikers on, so we end up with 2 strikers on the pitch, is that not a plan B? And yeah, it isn't exactly what we want, Sophie, but we knew that we know where we are. So,
I'm trying to look at the time when Eddie came on. Was it less than 20 minutes to go?
I'll tell you now, 1 second. Eddie came on.
I mean, he's not the answer.
The 77th minute.
So 13 minutes left in the game.
So Emile Smith-Rowe had 77 minutes on the pitch. I thought he was doing okay, but the manager wanted to change it and bring another striker on. To be fair, Sophie, he could have took any one of them off up the front end.
I mean, yeah. Okay, let's carry on. I had to put that up there because they're coming in thick and fast about a plan B, and needing to be
But
more
it was a tactical
change.
change. What do you reckon the plan B is? So going from one striker on the pitch to two strikers on the pitch, is that not a tactical change? I don't get. Do people actually understand what a plan B means, Sophie? Because you've asked me the question and I've just answered it. But it seems like they don't get what a plan B is.
Well, they don't agree with what.
No, but whether they agree or not, it's a plan B. That's why I said you might not agree with it.
Kev, do you know what I think it is? I think that they just don't like what the plan B options are. Let's all be honest. None of us do.
But that's where we are. I don't like it. I don't like it, but that's where we are.
All right, let's keep going through the team. Ben White, you gave him a 6.
Yeah, I gave him a 6.
Yeah. And it's a shame Chambers. I mean, why is Chambers on the bench if he can't play even 20 minutes? Because I would have maybe moved Chambers into the right back position, taken Holding. I'm not going to blame him. It wasn't his fault that we didn't really do anything today. But maybe Chambers in midfield at least, who's played there and played there for Fulham as well. So he gets a 5.5 for me today, Kev. I've defended him a lot, but wasn't great. White? Yeah.
5.5, okay. Tierney, I thought Tierney done okay down the left-hand side. I think we were a bit more productive down that side than our right. But the opposition wouldn't allow Tierney to keep overlapping and hurting him. He got to the byline a few times, but Sophie, we got nobody at striker, Soph. We got nobody to challenge their two centre halves in the middle. So it makes it look like a terrible cross when it isn't. So I give Tierney 6.5. So I thought he quite pushed quite a bit, but against the opposition, they were just happy to sit there. They were happy to spoil.
31 crosses, most of which came from Tierney's side, and very little production. I don't know how many times the manager has to see the fact that we can cross the ball all we like into the air, and there's no one there to header it. We don't have that skill set. And I felt like Tierney was wasteful today, Kev, where he should have passed it to feet more. There's a couple of chipped crosses, a couple of crosses that, just didn't hit the mark. I thought he was wasteful with the ball. Yes, he got into positions and yes, he pushed, but I think that he was poor.
Watch it again. I don't know whose feet he's going to pass it to, because they are in a block. They're in a block. When he gets to that byline, you ain't passing it to no feet. You've got to hit an area.
Yeah, I think, thank you, Jenny, 450 now in live chat. Hit that like button if you live in hope. I know there's not a lot to be happy about today. I'll give Tierney a 5, Kev. I understand what you're saying, but I just think we need to be smarter than that, Anyway.
Rob Holding. Rob Holding. Again, I didn't think Rob Holding done anything wrong, and definitely at the back wasn't a problem for us. If ever we let them in, it was because they had a break. But I thought we dealt with most things okay.
Well,
I give Holding a 6 again, Sophie, because he didn't really have much to do.
I mean, their biggest threat, let's be honest, is now playing for Newcastle.
Yeah.
And we kind of got lucky on that front. I thought Holding was decent. But again, I know I mentioned Chambers. And when I do, guys, I say like Holding, Chambers, El Neni, these are just players that we have to utilize because there's nothing else. The bench today, Amari Hutchinson, 17 years old. Yes, he's an exciting player. And yes, we've seen him and all of his skills on F2 freestyle stuff. Alabiosu, 20-year-old Haylender. Beereth, Fulham product, 21 goals. Again, young. Saladin, exciting prospect, still young. 20 years old. This is what was on our bench today. So when we talk about some of those other players, it's the best of what we've got. Not because we think they should be in the first team, not that we think that they should be starting for the Arsenal. This is what we've allowed to happen. I'm all for everyone going out, Kev. I'm all for clearing the decks. Get all of those Wenger, Emery players out. But my goodness, you better be prepared.
Well, you better bring them in. Ain't you? That's what you mean, Sophie. You don't mind them going out, but you got to bring bodies in. We're desperate.
Yeah, but just because they're the same age as Saka and Smith Rowe doesn't mean they're ready, Alex. Look how many games Saka and Smith Rowe have already played for the Arsenal. I know everyone has to start somewhere, but in a game where you have to win to get back into that top 4 position, to put a bit more pressure on everyone else behind, Man United won. You got Chelsea, Tottenham today. They've got a game in hand. We're off until February 10th. I mean, that was really disappointing, and we just don't have the bandwidth.
True. Listen, I understand people are disappointed. I get it. But our squad, we've talked about holes in our squad for months, Sophie. Mm-hmm. We have talked about it for months, and here we are. Getting into the last week of the window, we need to do some business.
I know, and of course,
business sharpish.
And of course, when you see Guendouzi playing well and Saliba, and you've got Mavropanos in Germany and Torreira, Fiorentina, I mean, those ships have sailed. We can't keep looking. They're not here, Tammy. I get what you're saying, though, and yeah, you could say they're better players than what we have on the bench.
A lot of them are players who don't want to be here. So, it's no point even saying that. We spoke about it on Kev Says on Friday, Soph. Do you want players who want to be here or not? It's that simple.
I think Mavropanos wanted to play for Arsenal. I don't think he's in the same pool
the majority.
As the
I'm just like the majority. Guendouzi's name keeps getting mentioned.
Yeah,
he wanted out of this club.
Well, he's gone, isn't he? He's done.
No, but he wanted out. Yeah. So Holding, Soph, I gave him a 6.
Manager wanted him out too. I'll give Holding a 5.5.
5.5. Gabriel, I give Gabriel 6.5. I thought it was decent. I thought his crossfield passing was decent for us today. Our major problems were at the top end of the pitch. That was our major problems. Approach play, all that. We done some really good things. But the key thing we can't do at the moment, Sophie, is stick it in the back of the net. That's where our problems start and end.
And even players who found their shooting boots earlier on, towards the end of 2021, Kev, Martinelli, Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, and I know everyone's going to rag on Lacazette once we get to him. I get it. But even the supporting cast became the leading men for goals, and they've
gone a bit cold. They've gone a bit cold in front of goal. But Sophie, you know why we say they've been leading the team? Mm-hmm. This is what happens when they're young. It takes a bit of time for them to build up that consistency. Because Saka at times and Martinelli at times today were outstanding on the outside. Beating their man and doing bits on the outside. But we need end product. That's the difference. That really is the difference.
5.5 for Holding. 5.5 of that is for his hair that continues to impress more than our
But for Gabriel,
gameplay.
my dear. Gabriel now. You give me
Gabriel, same.
5.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Sambi. You start with Sambi.
I thought Sambi did as well as he could. Again, we're asking him to do more than he should. but we're not seeing the best of him because he's not playing with a strong midfielder in that position. You know, Odegaard's instinct is to create, to push more ahead. And I felt he was very isolated today, Kevin, as much as Ben White tried to push in and help. Kind of, he was a bit of a hybrid today. I just felt like, again, when we're just seeing a player who was very good at Anderlecht, you know, a leader on the pitch, just not have the right partner to really see the best of him. And I think we've seen that he's talented, but for me, he gets a 4.
I thought Sambi schemed pretty well. He's our only real central midfielder we got in there. I feel sorry for him, to be honest with you, Sophie.
Exactly, Kev.
I do.
Really,
I feel sorry
really
for him
do.
because I'm hoping he's in a team with someone who's going to help him. Now, all the pressure's on him, if we're honest. And
Bad.
listen, and this is where we're at. We're trying to get midfielders in. We better get midfielders in, Sophie. We better, because that today is not good enough. That is not good enough. It is not. So I give Sambi 5.5 today, Sophie. I feel sorry for him, but I thought he was all right. I didn't think he was a former dear.
A lot of players think that he was hiding. A lot of players, a lot of listeners thought he was hiding. Today.
Hiding.
I don't think so.
Hiding.
I think that's a bit harsh, guys. There's nowhere to
Hiding?
hide on that pitch.
Where's he gonna
and when
hi-
you
where's-
do hide, I think it's fairly obvious. But some were saying that he was hiding behind Rodriguez the whole game.
Anyway, let's move on. Odegaard. I thought we had a decent game again, Soph. He tends to knit our team together. But you know what, Sophie? He's so much better when we got a centre forward. He's so much better when we've got a centre forward.
But, Kev, can I just jump in and say,
Of course you
when
can.
it started clicking with Laka and Martinelli on the left and Saka on the right and Odegaard, and we talked about them running channels and running this and something, obviously it's changed because our midfield are stupid and got red cards. And look, even the loss of Xhaka, you guys, again, you see sometimes it's important to have him, but then also someone just wrote too, his stupidity again, here it is, temp stamp, has cost us, both of them, which is why I think there's been that lack of speed and lack of production. But also we can't keep making excuses. It's like it's the same front, they're the same front three that we were lauding in these other games. Why?
Yeah, because we scored. You've got to be able to score, Soph. You've got to be able to pull people around and score. When the chances come, you've got to take them. You've got to put them away. And Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard were doing that. Lacazette to a point, done it once or twice. And that changes. When you score, it changes the game. It changes the game. It really does. But our problem now is we can't score, Soph. We get our noses in front. All of a sudden, Burnley have to open up. You could see the way they play. They were just happy to sit in there.
They could have nicked it at the end, Kev. If a better pass came in, they had 3 players running through the channels.
Yeah, well.
I'm not stirring the pot, K Marlon. There are a lot of people in chat, and I see it all, that said he was hiding. You go back, look at the go back to VAR. Odegaard, I think, gets a 6.
Six for you.
Yeah, he was the better player on the pitch.
For me, I thought, again, him and Martinelli were our better players today. I thought Martinelli tried really hard on the left-hand side. You could see, anytime he picked it up, that double team was there for him. Don't want him going on the outside, and anytime he comes in, he has to take it even further back. So, listen, you giving Odegaard 6, I'm giving Odegaard a 7. I thought he was our best player. ESR, Soph, is next.
You know, coming back from an injury, clearly getting back to match fitness. And I thought that in the second half, Kev, he looked like the most dangerous player on the pitch. And I think I saw leadership from him too, because he just felt like he was moving, even when he didn't have the ball, his movement off the ball, he got himself into the right positions. He was available to take the pass. He was unafraid to shoot on goal. But it just didn't come together consistently throughout the game, you know, and I felt it was harsh to substitute him. I was like, wow, to me, it felt like if someone's going to get a goal right now, it's going to be him. And I just felt that I would have kept him on a little bit longer I just would have kept him on. And I wouldn't have brought Eddie on for Emil Smith-Rowe. I don't think Eddie provides the same threat. It's not the League Cup. It's the Premier League. Emil Smith-Rowe could have kind of got a goal, maybe. I don't know if anyone's scoring in this game today.
It didn't look like he would have scored to me. It looked like he would create, Soph. He looked like he would create ESR because he made some, as Cayman says, you know, he did make some good runs down that left-hand side. There's one where he absolutely skinned Tarkovsky, got into the box and pulled it back for Laka, didn't he? And Laka got ahead of, I think it was me or one of the midfielders, and it just went past the post. When if he hits the target, it's a goal.
Give him a 5.5, Kev.
You give him a 5.5. I give him a 6. I give ESR a 6, Sophie, because what we wanted to see is them driving runs. We want to see them driving runs from him. We want to see him making a difference at the top end of the pitch. Didn't see anything really in the first half. Second half, he made 2 or 3 of those runs that could change the game. Unfortunately, we were wasteful in front of goal yet again, Sophie. We really were.
We were. Do you agree with CJ Dan, Kev? Because when we were thriving, it was Smith-Rowe was coming off the bench too. Do you think that they play well together, or do you think it would be a little bit different if Xhaka Partey were in midfield?
They've played together and we've won. And it was just a matter of players. We were in a winning form, why ESR ended up being on the bench. But he came on, and Ødegaard was still on the pitch, and he was scoring. So how can you say it doesn't work when Ødegaard's on the pitch, he comes on and scores? This is what I don't get. So if he can come on from the bench and it works, why can't... Listen, here's what I will say to people. Don't get blindsided or don't get foggy because of our wastefulness in front of goal. We did create chances today. It's not as if we didn't create chances. We did create chances, and we created some damn good chances too. But when you don't take your chances, this is what happens. This is really what happens. And we're going to get to the end, and I'm sure we're going to cover it quickly, so because we're going to have to start speeding up, right?
Yep, let's speed it up.
Saka, listen, I thought Saka was all right. Wasteful at times. Then, start of the second half especially, so he skinned Peters a couple of times, and I thought, just keep feeding him the ball. And we didn't get him enough of the ball at times, and then at the end, maybe he ran out a bit of steam. I'm going to give Saka a 6, Sophie. I'll give him a 6.
I'll give him a 5.5. He's so wasteful with the ball lately. He was so poor with his end product, and he needs to release it sooner, Kev. He held onto the ball trying to be the hero too much today. And maybe that's a good thing and a bad thing in the sense that he wants to show leadership and put the team on his back and try. But my goodness, he was so wasteful with the ball. So 5.5 for Saka, not his best. And I'll tell you, this is the type of game with the bottom of the league table team that you would want to rest Saka in. And if there's one player that I hope gets a little bit of rest between now and February 10th, it is him. He looks absolutely knackered, bushwhacked.
Right. Gabriel Martinelli. So
I wish every now and again he would look up. He looks down too much, Kev, because he's always...
He's a dribbler. He's a dribbler, isn't he?
And I think it's it's his nature, like you say. It's his style, but that's one thing he's going to have to improve and get better on, because he does miss open opportunities where some players are in the box. And another one who wants to be the hero too much. I think it's important that Arteta works with them on this. Don't try and be the hero. Do the simple things sometimes. Yes, you're a genius on the ball. We love you. But he's so desperate to get a goal again that he just did too much. But you cannot knock him for his effort, the way he runs, the way he tracks back. He is a superstar in the making. He's so special. But if he could have just looked up 2 or 3 times today, maybe the end result would have been better. For me, he was man of the match, 6.5.
6.5 for you, Soph. I'm going to give Martinelli, I'm going to give him a 7. He's going to get the same as Ødegaard. For me, driving runs. He is, I understand what you say about trying to pick people out, Soph. He's got to get his head up. But you know what? He's got to learn how to play against 2 defenders. Every time he picks it up, the double team comes. He's got to learn how to get around that. And do you know what, Sophie? How does he get around that? He's got to get around that by having players who can help him get around it. You know, that's what he needs to do. But I thought he was decent. Let's get to Alexander Lacazette, Sophie, who I thought knitted the team together at times okay, but it's that end product that we lack, isn't it? Really is the end product.
Yep. Unfortunately, Laka once again whiffed his lines in front of goal. And I love him and I've been a huge supporter of him, and he adds something to the team. But when that's not working and he misses chances, it looks bad. It looks glaringly bad. And, you know, unfortunately, it's just not worked out in the last couple of games. He's got to bury that chance in the in the second half. I mean, that was the one right there. Yeah. And we'd be talking a different story. And maybe I think if anyone is tired, he is. His legs they look like he was dragging today. I don't think anyone in this team should be tired though, Kev. We haven't played that much football. But for me, Lacazette gets a 4 today.
4. I'll give Lacazette a 5, Sophie. I think his all-round game is still there, but it's that cutting edge, which is why he gets just a normal par. Lacazette, he's not the player he once was, Soph. He's not the player he once was. And scoring goals, that chance is a chance the old Lacazette will gobble up. He will gobble that up. And it was our best chance, Sophie. It really was our best chance.
It was.
Let's
you got to finish that.
Yeah, got to stick that away. Let's get Eddie Nketiah, who was on for 13 minutes.
2. I'm done with him. I'm sorry, I can't talk about him anymore.
But Eddie you know Nketiah, something, Soph. Go on, sorry, darling.
I was going to say when Eddie Nketiah is the answer to coming on, when we desperately need a goal, it's just not good. I respect what he's done in an Arsenal shirt, Kev. I think he's been a big play for us in the League Cup. He came on and he did try, added an energy with his runs, but he's not the answer. He's just not.
100%, I totally agree. But I'll tell you one thing that we did see, and anybody who tells me we didn't, you're wrong. As soon as Nketiah comes on and he starts running in behind Tarkowski, all of a sudden there's more of a threat. We didn't hurt them, but this is going to come for my thing, what I want to say after. He's making the runs. He is not the answer, and he's not great. But it asks a different question to the likes of Tarkowski. We saw Smith Rowe skin him. Then we see Eddie run by him, and then he had to be bailed out by Ben Mee, I think it was. Our problem is, Sophie, we don't have a striker who can do both. We don't have a striker who can do the knitting and run in behind. And that is what we need. We get one of those, we are in business. Oh, and can stick it away. Sorry, let's not forget that. And stick it away. Listen, I give Eddie a 4. We're struggling, Sophie. We are really struggling at the top end of the pitch. We really are. We stick one away and we win the game 1-0. We take it, we move on. But the frustration is there. I get it, squaddies. Of course the frustration is there. I'm frustrated. I am very frustrated. But you know what, Sophie? We need to do business now. We need to do the business this week. No messing around.
There's no messing around. Time's running out. Clock is ticking. The date today is January the 23rd. There are 8 days left. And, you know, we've spent so much energy and time on this Vlahovic thing. I hope and pray that behind the scenes, the club have actually been working on something else that is going to surprise everyone later on this week. Because without
Sophie,
a striker and a midfielder, Kev, top 4 was going to be a big ask to see if this team could carry on being consistent. Without those signings.
Sophie, do you know, I asked the question, how many players do we need?
Yeah.
After today, I think we need a few more than 4. I think I said 4. I think we need about 6.
We need a right back. We need a centre back. We need a midfielder. We need a striker. We need a goalkeeper if Leno's going to leave.
We need a couple of midfielders.
Yeah, a couple of midfielders.
We need a couple of midfielders. We need a couple of forwards, whether it's a striker and a wide man or what. We need people who can, up there, we need people who can stick the ball away, so. That's what we need.
And it's not going to be Aubameyang, you guys. I just can't see it. I can't see it.
Yeah.
If you miss Kevin says on Friday, listen to the last 25 minutes, please, and hear what Kevin said about Aubameyang. That would be great. All right, Kev, everyone is going to be ducking out because the old big game's starting. We hope we if only both of those teams could lose, that would be great. Manchester United, unbelievable yesterday, Kev. The manager we've got to mark before we go.
Yes, Arteta.
Go on.
I'm going to give Arteta average a 5. He gets an average today, Sophie. Dominated passing, dominated this, dominated that. But at the end of the day, at home, we've got to win. We have got to win.
Yeah, simply put, we don't want this to drag on a bit. We're going to be back tomorrow night where we're going to get stuck into a little bit more depth on some of this stuff, you guys. But for today, we're going to call it quits. I give him a 5 point. I give him a 5, Kev.
Yeah, average. Yeah.
It was very average. His body language is a little. Do you feel like the stress coming out of his eyes and his? Can you feel that on the sideline?
I think he's frustrated. Of course he is, because when you dominate a football game and you don't finish teams off, and it's not as if we didn't create anything. We created some good chances. I mean, that Lacazette one was the perfect chance. Put it away. That's game over. When you don't take your chances, you're gonna be frustrated. I totally understand that. I totally understand that. So,
you know why I give him a 5, you guys, is because at the end of the day, there comes a point in a game where he's not accountable for obvious missed chances. Like Lacazette's chance missed, that's not Arteta's fault. Lacazette needs to finish that. Arteta's fault is that, for me, he lacks adaptability. And this is why we're seeing now in the look at the Premier League, how it's shaping out. So all the experienced managers, tactically, who can pick and poke, switch up,
Sophie,
and they've got the personnel to do it.
Sophie, it's the experienced teams. You look at the teams with experience. This is why it's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's why we need the bodies in.
Do better than Burnley, Kev. Got to do better against Burnley.
100%, Sophie. And that's 2 seasons now. Burnley have taken 5 points off us, Soph. It's not good enough.
No, it's not.
It's not good enough.
It's terrible. Well, look, there is another game on. And if you're into the NFL playoffs, I'll be doing that later today. Super Kev, thank you as always for joining. Not the type of energy that I wanted to come at in this match wanted to come in like every other Gooner, celebrating a good win, getting into top 4 and putting ourselves back in a position. It just looks, it's not been a good January. Is January the new November? I certainly hope not. We will be back tomorrow night live with Monday Madness. Do not miss that. It's going to be an absolutely great show. Kev, why don't you take us out with the troops?
Come on, guys, squaddies, Sophie, we are all frustrated. I get that. We are. Let's hope and pray that this Arsenal side and the management team can bring the bodies in to give us a chance, because we still have got a real chance of top 4. We do have a chance. So let's hope they can bring the bodies in and give us a real chance. We need a striker, without a shadow of a doubt. We need someone at the top end of the pitch. And even if it's a stand-in for now, I don't care, so we need somebody else. Somebody who can run and make a nuisance of themselves. Somebody who's going to be getting in there against these defences. So squaddies, thanks for joining us. If you haven't hit the like button on the way in, hit it on the way out for us, please. Especially if you want that lot down the road to get turned over. Or actually, what do we actually want from that one? We don't want them to win. But Chelsea as the opposition. Oh God.
It's the worst Sunday ever.
I know it's the worst Sunday ever. Listen, just hit the like button, whatever you want. We'll watch it. And hopefully, listen, I want that lot to get beat anyway. That's it. Simple.
Always, Kev. Always.
Squaddies, thanks again. Whether you agree or disagree, I love ya. It's all right. Take care, everybody. Have a super Sunday. At ease!
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Good luck to our women versus City, by the way. Kev, you're killing me.